actually just over here doing a life update, and I didn't feel like changing out of my night clothes. So let's get started. So basically the title of this video, I'm just gonna go through like my major, since I'm actually graduating from a HBCU. I'm graduating from North Carolina A&T State University in May. I can't wait. I'm literally dying to go. But basically I am a fashion merchandising and design major, and my minor is marketing. And I'm gonna tell you about the curriculum guide. Plus, on top of that, I decided that I was gonna apply for graduate school, because my plan was after I graduated from undergrad, I was gonna try to go to graduate school to further my education in fashion instead of just getting like a job, because I'm not ready for that yet. So let's get started. So basically, I am, of course, a fashion student, and it's actually located in Bimbo Hall. So if anybody is trying to be like a fashion major, A&T offers a fashion merchandising and design program. And as far as like a minor goes, at first when I was a freshman, they had, my mom said to minor in business administration, but they didn't have that as a minor. So they only had either entrepreneurship or marketing as a minor. So I had told my mom about it and one of my best friends about it, and they both said marketing. So I chose marketing because they said it would actually go complement my fashion major. But your sophomore year, you're going to be taking Apparel Construction Evaluation 1. This is basically your sewing class. So when I took it, we did like 3 projects on a skirt, a blouse, and some shorts, and that was about it. And Apparel Construction Evaluation 1 is usually like the hardest class for people to pass, I guess, just because like we have to meet deadlines and stuff like that. So I encourage you, like, if you never sew, it's okay. Like, everybody was learning like their first time how to sew. You'll get used to it. But I advise you to be on point with sewing and stuff like that. Like, turn it in early and on time, because like, you know, one of my professors, she give you like, of course, the deadline, but also like a certain time to submit it. So it's kind of like after you're gonna get points deducted. So it's like, I mean, that class was I was kind of struggling, but at the same time, I still kept going because, like, I know I want to be a fashion major, and I know I'm fully not going to be able to be, like, I don't want to fully be a designer. I'll have some aspect in the designing aspect of the field, but as far as, like, fully being, like, a designer, it's a lot of work. But you'll get over it. It's actually pretty, one of my professors said that's probably like your first class that is so hard for people to pass and stuff. One girl that used to sit next to me, she ended up like not even coming back. Like, after the first project on the skirt, like, she got up and left, and she never came back to the class. Like, she came to like the other classes, but she never came back to Apparel Construction. So she probably changed her major because she said she was changing it to like journalism and communications. So you guys, I advise you not to give up that easily. Of course, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's not gonna be easy, but if you actually take the time to actually like motivate yourself and actually like persevere and not give up so easy, you'll do fine. And keeping up with the work is probably number 1. So in another class is textiles. Okay, so textiles is really long. You're gonna be learning about fibers and yarns and filaments, and oh my god, it's a lot. You're gonna have like a book with different like sample swatches and stuff like that, so it's a lot. If you really want to pursue textiles, that's probably gonna be the class for you. But I know most of us probably ain't gonna really be in textiles, considering why we might want to do something else in the fashion field. So it's a really long class. I think that's like what, 1 hour and 15 minutes. We had that in the morning, and it was just so draining because it's so heavy lecture based. So I advise you to take notes and study for that class, because that class is very, very long, but it goes into detail about textiles and how, you know, they basically make these garments and stuff. So I advise you to at least know as much as you can in that class about textiles. Another one, okay, you taking your art classes, you taking art design 1 and design 2. Art 1 is basically like 2D dimensional, basically 2-dimensional, you know, like flat art, basically you just drawing and stuff like that. Art design 2 is basically like 3-dimensional projects you will actually have to do. So it was okay. It was pretty straightforward. If you deal with any difficult teachers, like, don't be surprised if you get an art teacher who is acting crazy and think you're supposed to have like this perfect project. Like, do your best and work hard on your projects and stuff, because they be trying to grade. They try to critique so hard on your artwork. So just don't worry about it as much, except the fact that those classes turn into almost 3-hour classes, but we don't be in there that long, so we might be in there for like an hour or so. So I don't know why they decided to do 3-hour classes. It's just too much. But art is not that bad. It's like a walk in the park. Visual merchandising, you'll probably have way more fun in that, because you're basically working with a partner and you're doing like 2 display cases, and you have to come up with a theme, your color board, your basically like the story, your overall theme, like what is basically like, for example, one of my classmates, she did Victoria's Secret pink, and they had like a Victoria's Secret pink display case theme that basically caters to like college women, like basically like college students and stuff like that. So it depends like what kind of theme you're trying to go for, and please, I advise you to get a good partner for visual merchandising, because trust me, when you be in partners and groups, that junk is a task. Dealing with one person in the group who's either lazy, or one person in the group who just want to like control everything, and I don't like that. Like, I like to work as equals and actually like bounce ideas off each other, but people out here will literally act crazy. And don't be surprised if some of your classmates, once you like present your display case, be talking about it, because there is some people that be acting kind of act like they're better than other people. So I advise you to don't even think about it. Think about your display, your theme, what are you doing, and just worry about your grade in the class. Don't worry about anything else. Visual merchandising is pretty fun. I kind of wish we had like a bigger display case, because it's only a little to no room trying to work in that small display case. But you basically either can work with 1 mannequin or 2 mannequins. They want you to be careful, because those mannequins are very heavy, especially when you put clothes on them and stuff like that. But other than that, visual merchandising is usually probably like one of the fun classes people like to take. And then on top of that, they literally just got some software where you basically can make your store layout, because we didn't have that, but the other students did. So they got to actually be like more hands-on on the computer, actually making their own store, kind of like making your own business layout, like your whole floor plan and stuff like that, and how you want to make your store. Kind of wish we had that, but we did not have that because we had already took it. So yes, if you want to do visual merchandising, I advise you to actually have fun in that class. But when I tell you, if you're trying to be a fashion major, you're going to be dealing with a lot of projects, especially a lot of group projects. So you have to be prepared for that, because when you get out into the real world, you're going to have to collab with people that you might like and you don't like. So you're going to have to like suck it up and get over it at this point, because this is the real world. And even though if you work with somebody who don't really do their work, you got to stay on top of it. More likely to probably talk to them or talk to your professor. Like, that's just important to me. You're gonna take flat pattern. Flat pattern was okay. You're gonna be possibly doing like a pattern notebook with all the patterns that you made in class. You're probably gonna have like a professor that actually demos it and stuff. You're gonna have to go through step by step in flat pattern. I mean, you're gonna have a big book basically, doing like different pattern making stuff. I think we did like collars, and we did something with like, they had different stuff like pattern how to make a bodice and like the skirt and stuff like that. I think at the end of flat pattern, you actually have to find like a pattern in your pattern textbook and actually make like a garment from that pattern that you basically made. So it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it depends on what you're trying to make and what's your final project gonna be. And you're gonna have to be sewing that too. You're gonna take CAD. CAD is my favorite. I love CAD, computer aided design. You're gonna be making like color boards, mood boards, customer boards. You're gonna be making flat sketches like croquis and stuff, and putting like the basically like the outfit on the croquis and stuff like that. That's probably one of my favorite classes. You don't have no exams in there because everything is on the computer, so don't even worry about that. You basically doing projects on your own. So I mean, the professor is there to help you, but it's pretty straightforward. You're gonna be dealing with Photoshop and Illustrator, so that's not actually bad once you get used to Photoshop and Illustrator, because I did not know what to do when I had Photoshop, but now I kind of understand what tools I can use on Photoshop. So I'm still improve on that. I still want to take more classes with computer aided design, but CAD is probably the best class because a lot of people say they love that class and they get to like make their own like sketches and designs and stuff like that. And also you're probably gonna be making like your own textile design, like your own print too. So just a reminder, they're all project based and they weigh a lot. Like each of those projects are like 125 points each, like a piece. In the portfolio, when you have everything together, that's gonna be 250 points. Don't know if it's gonna be like a different professor teaching that class, but I ain't gonna name no professor names, but hopefully once you get there, it's gonna be mostly project based. One, merchandising math. If you want to be a fashion buyer, that class is for you. It's very math based. You're gonna have to do calculations, be very analytical. You're gonna be doing with purchase orders, assortments. You're gonna deal with like a 6-month plan, and you're gonna be tested on that stuff. I got a B minus in that class, but I'm like really am trying to improve on that because like I might want to do like the buying aspect. Not sure yet. I still kind of want to be like a fashion stylist or like a merchandiser or like a director, but we gonna see because I'm trying to go to graduate school. So if you really do like math and doing calculations, that class is gonna be for you. Like everybody gonna be required to take these classes that I'm mentioning, but that class is gonna be vital, especially if you're trying to further your education, trying to do buying, so like, you know, traveling and collaborating with basically I think like vendors and merchandisers and stuff, and have to negotiate on a certain, I think it's like you have a budget, like a certain amount that you have to spend on like each, I think like each thing, I guess like each garment, it just depends in order to sell those garments into the retail stores. So if you want to do buying, you're gonna be in for an interesting class. So another thing, historic costume. Basically historic costume, you basically learning the history of like from the very beginning of how fashion was basically made, like how they have like different fashion styles that we still got around now that keeps coming in the cycle every year. Like them corsets that they used to wear back then, those are still like prominent and still in style. We talking about animal print, neon and stuff like that. Like they're gonna teach you, basically they're going back to the root of basically fashion. Like you gonna learn a lot of the history of fashion. So I advise you to actually focus real hard in that class because it's very history based on fashion, and it's basically just you basically learning from like where it started up to now. So it should be it's an interesting class. But when we had one teacher, she was new and she was only there for 1 year and then she transferred, but we were lucky because like the class was kind of easy, plus we had quizzes. So like I don't know who's gonna be teaching that class, But when I had that class, we basically had like quizzes every Friday on like each chapter and stuff like that. And she was giving us like incentives, like she was giving us extra credit. We took notes in class and stuff, so that was like a big help in our grade. So the class wasn't bad, and plus I'm pretty sure you're gonna be watching like videos and stuff, basically like on the history and stuff. I think there was like a clip where we watched like Chanel and how she started like her career in fashion and stuff like that. So it's interesting. So I recommend being like focused in that class for historic. Fashion marketing and merchandising. That class, I took that last semester, is very intense. Fashion marketing and merchandising, that's really vital because you got the marketing aspect and the merchandising aspect. It's very lecture heavy based, like it's a lot of information to take in. If I were you, I would probably really focus and take notes in that class. Plus, on top of that, when it comes to the test, you're going to have to study in that class. And I know at the end of that semester, you're going to do a final project with probably like 2 other people, not sure yet. But I had to work with 2 other people in my class, and we had 3 people to each group, and we had to work on like a report and turn it in. So it's not that bad, but you really gonna have to study that class because it talks so much about marketing, the marketing side and the merchandising side. It was a lot of information. It's kind of overwhelming when you take those hardcore classes and knowing you're gonna have to learn this much information. It's a lot. I don't like lectures like that. I kind of like it to be more interesting and probably more interactive, but it was very lecture heavy. But I advise you, like I said, focus. Like, you really gonna have to focus and take notes. Like, especially if it's on a PowerPoint, take them. You're gonna have to study very heavily in fashion marketing, merchandising. I wish I could go into detail for each class, but it is just so much in like each curriculum. So I'm just giving you like a brief description on each. Another one, product development. Anybody who is trying to do product development, this might be the one for you. Like, if you already are good at Photoshop and Illustrator, because you're gonna have to make flat sketches in that class to present in front of like your professor and your classmates, and you might have one other partner that you're working with. You basically got to come up with like your brand name and your age range and the sizes that you're gonna offer, who you basically catering to, who are your consumers, who are your target customers, basically. Product development, I really do want to pursue product development. Don't know yet, but product development kind of go hand in hand with CAD. And I know some of us had just started taking product development last semester, and some people had already took CAD. So I was literally trying to make myself how to make sketches in such a short amount of time on CAD. I'm trying to how to make flats and stuff. I mean, we did good. We got like a B on our presentation, but it's just like I was trying to make myself learn how to do like draw flat sketches on Illustrator, because you're gonna have to draw sketches on Illustrator anyway. Product development is gonna deal with a lot of you, of course, note taking. You're gonna be taking quizzes. When I took it, we had like 7 quizzes. We had the design presentation that I was telling you about, where you basically gonna have to come up with your own like brand, basically, and what basically like what kind of outfits you're making to cater to the customer and stuff like that. Me and my partner, we focus on like A&T, basically like on HBCUs and basically like professional wear, so they can have like a more stylish, more professional chic kind of wear. And basically it's a lot like product development. We basically had to do like we had to pick one, like you either pick like one top or one bottom that you basically sketched out. And then like you just like, for example, I picked like one pair of trousers that I actually sketched on Illustrator, and then I used that for my product development because it's pages and pages worth of product development. We talking about points of measure, the front, back, the front view and the back view, We talking about like I think the bill of materials, the cost, the labels. Like I'm telling you, product development is a lot. It's a lot, but it's worth it. I know it took me some time. It really do take a while to like calculate because you actually gonna have to do math for product development somewhat. So you're gonna probably do somewhat calculation on that. But she's probably gonna give you like some sort of like a piece of paper and post it on Blackboard about like the tolerance and stuff like that on like a garment, depending on what garment you have. And then on top of that, you're gonna be talking about like the price basically on the last page. And who you basically sourcing your basically what country do you want them, basically, Lord Jesus, basically what country do you choose to make your product at. So she gonna give you a list of that too. Product development, I really do like product development, but it's gonna be really time consuming. It is, like, some classes are very time consuming, but it's worth it because it's a process that you're gonna actually have to go through. But product development, I recommend product development, but I know some people might like it and some people might not like it just because of like how rigorous it is. Cause it wasn't bad, but I feel like I want to improve more if I even do go into product development. Product development is kind of fun. Overall, it's basically you trying to make flat sketches, basically for like a retailer and stuff like that. Apparel construction evaluation too. I forgot to mention this. Draping. Oh my god, I struggled in draping because I dreaded that class. But draping is actually not that bad. If you actually like to sew and like to drape clothes, that class is actually for you. Like, it's a struggle. It's the thing about it is you have to buy a textbook for that class, but it's like she wanted us to freestyle our garments, and I was not good at that. Like, I'm not good at not looking at a book because I am not a draping expert. Like, this is my beginner's class to draping. I'm not really good at draping because you have to basically drape on like a body form, like a mannequin that they have. Like, it's like in the closet in the sewing lab. You basically drape it on a form figure, and like, I guess some people actually like that class. I didn't really like that class as much as I wanted to because like I just feel like it's so hard trying to freestyle a whole trying to drape something together and trying to make it look beautiful. But if I ever take draping again, it's gonna be a lot of room for improvement because sewing is one thing, sewing on a sewing machine, but draping like on a dress form, that's a whole different ballgame for me. So if you like draping and sewing, possibly trying to do like haute couture and stuff like that, trying to be in the couture side of fashion, that class is probably for you, but it probably ain't for me. But draping was okay. It's very fast paced and you're gonna be dealing with a lot of like projects. Like, you basically dealing with the basics, trying to drape a bodice, draping like a skirt, and I can't think of anything else because those were like basically like the basics that you usually oh yeah, and draping like the sleeve. It's kind of similar to apparel construction evaluation one. It's not that bad when you get to the basics, but once you have the freestyle, and she thought I was relying too much on a book, but I mean, like, it kind of defeats the purpose of the class because like we have to spend money on a textbook for draping if we want to learn how to drape something. I mean, you're gonna have to have the textbook for something, but to me, if you like draping, that class is for you, is all I'm gonna say. And global trends, I'm in that class right now, is very, very rigorous, and you really got to study for that class. You really got to study. It's basically about global sourcing and where, retailers like Walmart or like, I can't think of anybody else, but I know like TJ Maxx or stuff like that, they basically like sourcing like their basically like their raw materials from like other countries, and they usually get somebody to sew and assemble like their clothing products. It depends where they want somebody to actually sew like their full entire garment. So it's basically a process, basically from like if they want like a suit, they get their inspiration from somewhere else. Maybe they get it from like Paris or something like that, and that's probably like the new trend. So they decide to get their sources from like certain areas, like certain countries and stuff like that, in order to make their final product. Is basically like assembling like their entire garment. It's more than just that. We talking about like trademarks and copyrights, and I'm trying to think, because global sourcing is a lot. It really is a lot. It goes more like, it almost feels like the government side of fashion, when you go into depth. And that's basically like literally like the last class you would have to take, major class you have to take in order, if you want to fully go into sourcing. That class is for you, and it probably go hand in hand with buying, considering why you have to meet with different people and vendors to make garments and stuff like that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Introduction to fashion merchandising and the social psychological aspect of dress. And I think the introduction to human development, I think two of those classes, the social psych aspect of dress and the introduction to fashion merchandising, both of those were online. So I can't really vividly like remember, but it's basically like the beginning of like understanding the fashion merchandising side and understanding like how like the social psychological aspect of dress was like done. So I can't really say much because it was so long ago, and that was literally the introductory classes we had to take freshman year, but those were online. Some people took it in class, some of us took it online, because I took both of those classes online, so that's neither here nor there. But anyway, I'm done with that. My marketing classes they're good, they're decent. It's basically go hand in hand with my fashion major. Basically you focusing on like the customer relationship management and marketing, selling and sales management, basically trying to sell to the consumer, understand their buying preferences, advertising to like consumers and stuff like that. It's pretty like a one-way street. Like it's pretty straightforward. If you're trying to go into fashion marketing, that's probably for you. If you want to cater and actually make advertisements and actually like, I want to say they want to probably do like trend forecasting and stuff like that, that is for you. Especially like fashion styling, you know, because you know they make those outfits like Free People or American Eagle. They put together like some outfits, like some shoes top and bottom, and then they post it on their Instagram and stuff. That's basically kind of like fashion styling. So that was me trying to explain each class. I tried, but if you trying to get into fashion merchandising and design, you gonna learn the design aspect and the merchandising aspect, which is actually a good thing, because most colleges make you focus on like either merchandising or design. So if you want to go to A&T and major in fashion merchandising and design, this is for you. Trust me, it's gonna be rigorous, and it's gonna kick in like the projects, the assignments. I mean, they're gonna kick in, but it's gonna be worth it. And if you really are passionate about this program, is what I'm trying to tell you. I will see you guys in the next video, and catch me later. Bye.